Hi, welcome to Low Code No Code. Today, again, is my guest Anthony Quast from Australia. Anthony has a special demo for us today. He has a solution where you see SAP build apps together with the HANA Cloud, Data Warehouse Cloud, and SAP Analytics Cloud. The use case is exactly what, Anthony? Can you describe us what you brought us today here?
Thanks for having me again, Jonas. So the use case for this was that a couple of months ago we had an event, Gartner, that we needed to develop a demo for. So the concept behind this was that we had an event, Gartner, that we needed to develop a demo for. This demo used SAP built apps that we then developed a personality test for that showed to the customer, hey, you can go and fill out this questionnaire, answer 10 questions, and at the end, you'll get your data personality type. So it's like a Myers-Briggs type test where you can go, you answer 10 questions, and that will then align you with whether you're a data leader, whether you're a data warrior, and then show whether, which type, I guess, would be closest aligned to your own personality. And the way we did it, we took SAP built apps, developed the questionnaire, output the data to a HANA table that we accessed through an OData API, then took that data from the HANA table, combined from separate HANA tables actually, combined it in SAP Data Warehouse Cloud, and then finally visualized it on an SAP Analytics Cloud dashboard.
Okay, I hope that later I have the opportunity to do the test by myself, but I would say before we do this, let's start directly into the environment to see how you did it, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, this is SAP Build Apps. So I see here the first question. Anthony, can you give us some insights? Where are the questions coming from? Where do the answers go? And how did you create this?
Okay, so as you see, this is the visual layer that you see in SAP Build Apps. The questions aren't actually stored on the application itself that's deployed, but instead the app goes ahead and retrieves the questions through an OData API from the HANA table. As you see here, these are just placeholders for the questions that will then be retrieved via OData API and then stored in AppGuide as variables. We can switch over to the variables panel, and you can see there's a lot of different variables that kind of define these sort of data structures. And on the left here, if we toggle to the data variables, you can see that there's questions and there's answers as well. And these are then retrieved via the API instead of being hard-coded and defined within AppGuide itself. That way, if I want to go ahead and add any questions or alter any questions, we can do that in HANA itself. Update the HANA table that it retrieves these questions and answers from, and then display that to the user.
Okay, and the questions and the answers are on the HANA Cloud. Can you give us a view, how did you made it in the HANA Cloud, and it's connected with OData or which way?
Yes, so I created for the backend, I decided to go with SAP CAP application. That's basically allows you to define the backend through Business Application Studio and individually define each of the tables that you want to read and write to. As you see here in SAP HANA Cloud, we've got a table for the profile, for the questions and for the answers. So the profile that the user inputs, that's stored in a separate table from the questions that the user answers. But then also a table for the questions, so I can go ahead and update those within HANA itself instead of having to go ahead and redeploy the app that we have every time we want to make a change to the questions themselves.
Okay, and here on the HANA Cloud are also the answers saved. So it's not in Build Apps in this case, and not on SAP Analytics Cloud or the Data Warehouse Cloud, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we've got for each user, seeing as there's 10 questions, we've got 10 rows of data for each question per user that are then stored in SAP HANA Cloud instead of the app itself. That way we can then go ahead and access them afterwards and store them if they're stored in the cloud, we can go ahead and take them out in SAP Data Warehouse Cloud and then also show them on an SAP Analytics Cloud dashboard in the end.
All right. And why exactly did you use the data warehouse cloud? What is the use case, and can you show us what you did there?
Yeah, sure thing. So this is the user interface that you see in SAP Data Warehouse Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, in a nutshell, this sort of interface is a graphical SQL overlay. You can see that I've gone ahead and created an inner join for different tables. So you see the questions, the answers, and the profile tables are all joined together and then generate that one view at the end that will then be used in SAP Analytics Cloud to visualize the data.
Okay. And I see here some kind of variables between question answers. What is that?
Yes, so these are the individual blocks that we have in SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. These kind of allow you to either define a filter that you want to apply to the data sets that you have, or a calculated field, for example. Those could maybe let you alter the date of something if you want to maybe rewind something by 3 hours, or you want to go ahead and capitalize names, stuff like that. So you can define, as I said before, you can define filters, you can exclude rows, or you can create calculated fields as well.
The variables or the filters, did you have to code for this, or is it in the standard drag and drop?
Yeah, so this is all just the same drag and drop interface. It's a no-code interface. You can go ahead and you can do all this in SQL as well, the manual way if you like, if you know how to write SQL queries.
So both ways.
Exactly. So DWC does give you that flexibility of either dragging and dropping and connecting the individual tables, or you can go ahead and write your own SQL query. If you know how to do that, that option is also available to you.
But one important point here, the data is not stored in the Data Warehouse Cloud, it's saved in the HANA Cloud in this case. Right?
Exactly. So Data Warehouse Cloud acts as kind of an overlay for SAP HANA Cloud. It doesn't go ahead and replicate the data. It uses it as a live connection, and it sits on top of HANA. It pulls out that data and then it applies the transformations that you've defined in this interface, and then outputs that as a singular view in the end that you can then utilize in SAP Analytics Cloud.
And maybe I missed that, but how is it connected with the HANA Cloud? Is it also about with OData, or which way is it?
So that's pretty tightly integrated. So it's a connection that you can select, assuming it's within the same environment. You can go ahead and you can select your HANA tables in Data Warehouse Cloud. But yeah, as you see here on the left, you've got the repository where you can go drag and drop your tables from and insert them into the view in the middle here. So I've got the questions table, the answers table, and the profile table, all from the SAP HANA connection.
Oh, okay. And the results at the end, I see them in the SAP Analytics Cloud. That's what I understood. Can you give us some insights there?
Sure. So you see,
and of course, how does the information enter the SAP Analytics Cloud? So where does it come from? That would be also interesting.
Yeah, sure thing. So as you see here, once all this data, all these tables are combined from the SAP HANA system, they generate this one output view in Data Warehouse Cloud. This view can then be selected in SAP Analytics Cloud as a data source, and then you can create a dashboard with that and show the visualizations of whatever data source you have. For example, in this case, seeing as we have a personality test and not some customer data, we're quite limited in what we can display, but we can show the different personality types and account of each of those. So we can see we've got a lot of data leaders, data ninjas, data warriors, and the other two types are not as represented. But then also kind of divvy that up and show a split by role, also by industry as well, to show how many people from public sector are data leaders, warriors, or in general that there were a lot of public sector people at the event, but then also divvy that up and show by individual role. There were a lot of managers, for example, that were data leaders. That was definitely the most represented type. and then kind of divvy that up and show that as individual visualizations as well.
So I see here we have 444 users or persons who did the test. So in a few moments, I would say we start my round. And then later on, we should see my results also here, right? It's up to date.
Exactly. So it probably won't change the distribution that much because we already have 444 results. But yeah, so we'll see the dashboard then with that 445th result as well.
Okay, then I would say let's start into the quiz.
All right, sounds good. All right, so here you see the first screen that you'd see when you boot up the quiz. For the Gartner event, at least, what we did is we had users go and scan a QR code, and they would then get the quiz within the web browser and then go ahead and enter the details. So let's say you want to answer the quiz, Jonas, so we can put in your details. Jonas German.
Yep. Okay, and now I will start and do the 10 rounds of the quiz. Okay, now I finished the quiz. I'm a data leader. Anthony, now the results should be in the analytics dashboard, right?
Exactly. So if we have a look at the SAC dashboard again, we can see now there's 445 results. Before it was only 444. It's quite a lot, but as you see, it incremented by 1, and it incorporated your result into that too because it's a live connection directly to the HANA table, and the SAC dashboard then refreshes in a certain interval and will then show your result at the end as well.
I see now in total we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different solutions in use here. And the quiz with the answers and the questions, how many days took it for you to bring all this stuff together and build this whole scenario?
Well, it's hard to say in total, but I'd say 3 or 4 days of full-time work, I think, to put the whole end-to-end solution together. So from developing the app itself to creating the SAP CAP API in Business Application Studio, sorting out the backend, connecting that to DWC, and building that visual SQL query as well. That did take quite a bit of time. Must admit the dashboard itself didn't take too long, but all up, definitely it would probably take about a week if you had to do this again from scratch. At most, so 5 days of full-time work. I would definitely say if you're under time pressure, obviously that would be quicker. But yeah, that can be achieved end-to-end within a couple of days.
I like it that you say under time pressure you are quicker.
Yeah, exactly, as everyone is, right?
And to finish this up, how much code did you need for this whole scenario?
So once again, as last time, it was in total 0 lines of code. Seeing as SAP Build Apps lets you create the interface itself using a no-code interface, and you can just drag and drop everything. And then for the backend, I wrote that in SAP Business Application Studio, but it was a guided development tool, so it kind of fills out all the information itself. And then DWC, as you saw, I didn't have to write any SQL. I just used the drag and drop components to connect the tables together, and then in the end output that to SAP Analytics Cloud and visualize that on the dashboard, which once again you can create with 0 lines of code. You just select the visualizations you want, connect the data source, and then you've got the dashboard at the end of it.
But you have space to work in. If you like, you can use code in Build Apps. I think you can use Java, data warehouse code. You can do that manually, as you said, also in Business Applications and of course Analytics Cloud, right? Or did I miss something here?
Yeah, so even with SAP Build apps, you do have the flexibility to write custom JavaScript code for individual components, or custom for the logic flows that you have for each of those components. You can include some JavaScript in there as well if you like. In Business Application Studio, obviously that's a full-fledged IDE, so a developer interface that you can then write any code that you want, really. So anything from C to C++ to JavaScript to Python, that's all possible within Business Application Studio. But in this case, the guided development tool to create an API was enough. I didn't have to go ahead and learn JavaScript from scratch to create this demo. And then obviously in HANA itself, where you create the, once you've created the databases through the IDE, then you don't have to write any code from that. You can just select that and output that to Data Warehouse Cloud. And Data Warehouse Cloud, you don't have to write any SQL. You've got that option if you want to, but you can also use the drag and drop interface. But if you like, you can do all of that with a SQL query. It will probably take up around about, give or take, a page to write that, but that is also, as I said, just achievable with that no-code interface as well. And in Analytics Cloud, to create those visualizations, the sort of preset and predefined visualizations are fine for the use case that we have. But if you want to do anything beyond that, you can also use JavaScript and I think it's the D3 library as well, if you want to go and create a completely custom visualization, or you can just write an R script as well and visualize that in Analytics Cloud instead of just using the no-code interface. But both options are always available to you in most of the environments that we have. You don't have to take one over the other, or that all, works fine.
Okay, Anthony, thank you very much. It was a very impressive demo, a very impressive scenario that you have these kind of personality quiz combined with different solutions and connected with the Analytics Cloud. Again, I thank you very much for your time and that you gave us the opportunity to see what you did. Thank you very much and hopefully see you soon.
Glad you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Jonas. See you guys soon.
Bye.